Hello, everybody. Welcome to setting up a climograph for Mr. Charlton's biology class. You are watching this video because you are on the assignment for week 6 and you need to get it done with setting up a new kind of graph called a climograph. And what makes a climograph so different is that you have two sets of numbers on the y-axis. So one y-axis is for temperature, another y-axis is for precipitation. And so what we've done in the last couple of weeks is we did bar graphs for precipitation and we did dots on a line for temperature. Well, now we're going to do both on the exact same graph. And so the reason I did the last 2 weeks kind of slow, you probably thought, man, I know how to make a bar graph. I know how to do dots on a line. Well, the reason I did that is to get you ready for this week so that you can make a climograph, because it's going to be a little tricky with the y-axis. It's probably something you might not have seen before. Your math teachers might freak a little bit, but that's okay. That's how science rolls. We set up the ranges different for different y-axes depending on what our data is telling us. All right, so I'll show you how to do that, but that is what the real key is here, is setting up two different y-axes. Also, before I jump into it, make a key note, and you're going to see me do this, is you want to use the same numbers on both of your y-axis for all three graphs. So make sure you use the same numbers for the desert, the same numbers for the rainforest, the same numbers for the deciduous forest. Why is that? Because your second assignment this week is to compare the graphs to each other. And if you don't use the same numbers, it's not going to come out the same. You're not going to be able to tell how one compares to the other. If you use the same numbers, it's easy to see, oh, the temperature is higher here than it is over here, or there's more rain over here than there is over here. But if you're using different numbers, you can't just look from left and right because the ranges are all different. So make sure you use the same numbers. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. So let's show you the assignment we're looking at here. We'll get into the graphing in just a moment. All right, so we're in week 6, climographs. This is the big assignment for the week, is to make these 3 different climographs. So yes, you're making 3 graphs. This video is right here. That's, I'm assuming, how you got here. You clicked on that. And so you'll see tropical rainforest. I give you the months. I give you the precipitation, so how much it rains in the rainforest, and then the average temperature of the rainforest. So again, last week we did just temperature. The week before that, we did just precipitation. Now you're doing both of them together. Hot desert, months, rainfall. Obviously, it doesn't rain very much in the desert. And then temperature. And then the tropical deciduous forest, which is the months. And then rainfall fluctuates from almost 0 to 34 to 36, so it can change. And then the temperatures can range a little bit as well. So a graph, a climograph for this one, a climograph for this one, and a climograph for this one. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the climograph for the rainforest. I'm going to put my data here over to the side so that we can see it. And then let's get started with setting up our paper. So grab a sheet of paper. Again, give it a title. 2 weeks ago, we did figures 1, 2, and 3. Last week, we did figures 4, 5, and 6. So I guess we'll just start with figure 7. And then what are we graphing? We are graphing both precipitation and temperature, which is called a climograph. So you don't have to say precipitation and temperature, although you wouldn't be wrong if you did. But if you say this is a climograph, which means graph of the climate, for what are we doing? The tropical rainforest. Okay, so we got that. All right. So you're like, cool, I got that. We did that last week. What's the big problem here? All right, here's where the problem comes in. Like I said, you want to use the same numbers on your y-axis for all 3 graphs. So before you even determine how many lines you're going to use here, you got to look at all 3 sets of data. So, oops, let me pull this. Sorry. Hit the wrong button. We can get rid of that. Okay, so not only do I look at the rainforest, but I'm going to look at all 3. So let's start with the rainforest because that's the one we're doing. Notice the rain goes from 30, or it gets up to 35, almost 36. and then the lowest is about 8. So 8 to 36 will cover the rainforest. All right. But when I go to the desert, it's way below 8. It's close to 0. So that means the low number needs to be 0 for the desert to be included in there with it. So now I'm going to go from 0 to 36. All right. Does 0 to 36 work for the deciduous forest? Pretty close to 0. Okay. Still 0 will work. And it does get up to 36 exactly. So 0 to 36 will work. So I'm going to make a note of that just on the side, piece of scratch paper here. So if I go over here, I'm just going to say that precipitation, you don't have to put this in, I'm just making a note, goes from 0 to 36, and that will take care of all 3 graphs, 0 to 36. Okay, perfect. All right, now temperature. Temperature here goes from low of 13, 13, all the way up to what, 23? So 13 to 23 works for this one. But 13 will work for this. It doesn't go lower than 13, but it goes all the way up to 35. So now I got 13 to 35 for both of these graphs. And will 13 to 35 work for this? Yes, this is all within 13 to 35. Okay, so again, I'm just making a note of this. For my temperature, it ranges from 13 to 35. All right, so here's the deal. Obviously 0 to 36 is 36 lines. And 13 to 35 is 22 lines. So I'm going to go with the 22 lines. I'm going to make 22 lines, and then I'm going to go, instead of going by ones, because I don't have 36 lines on this paper anyway. I mean, look, there's not 36 lines. But I do have 22 lines. So I'm going to go 22 lines to make the temperature work, and then I'll go by 2s on the precipitation. And you're probably sitting there going, what's he doing? You'll see. So we're going to make 22 lines. And how did I get that 22 lines? Because temperature uses 22 lines. And then I'm going to make it fit for the precipitation. So why is a climograph weird? This is why a climograph is weird. You're about to see it. So I'm going to go 22 lines. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and skip 1 for the x-axis. All right, so all the way down. Let me zoom out so you can see what I got going. So I went 22 lines down. And then I'm going to go, now I'm not going to go all the way to the edge, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. I'm going to go over to right about there. And then here's the really trippy part. There's another y-axis, which I'm going to make 22 lines. 22 lines. And so you're like, what? Okay, you have a y-axis here, and you have a y-axis here, and then obviously this is your x-axis on the bottom. This is what makes climographs trippy. Now, normally we label them after we put the numbers. I'm going to put the labels on them so we can keep this stuff straight. So I'm going to turn my paper. On this y-axis, we're going to put our precipitation. So this is average precipitation. And what is precipitation being measured in? Sorry, my graph disappeared on me. It's being measured in centimeters right there. Okay, so, and here's the new part. Take your graph, turn it again. For the other y-axis, there's 2 y-axes. Average temperature. And temperature is measured in degrees Celsius. So you're like, what? I told you it was a little tricky. That's why we did this slow, getting you ready for this. All right, so I have a y-axis for precipitation, and I have a y-axis for temperature. So the numbers over here are going to work for the precipitation, and the numbers over here are going to work for temperature. But they don't have to be the same numbers. I think that's the part that people get tripped up on. So for instance, these are the notes I made earlier. I said precipitation goes from 0 to 36. Well, I only have 22 lines, so I'm going to go by 2s. So watch, I'm going to go by 2. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44. Now you might be saying, whoa, 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 you went all the way up to 44. You only needed to go to 36. True. So that means my highest number is going to be right in this line somewhere right here. So that's fine. That's my highest bar. Remember, precipitation is bars. Okay. Now for the other side, I'm doing temperature. Temperature doesn't go from 0 to 36. Temperature in my data goes from 13 to 35. Can I start at 13? Yes, you can. So this is where and people are like, whoa, 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 if I put a 13 there, that's not 13 over there. That's the thing. Pretend like this doesn't exist when you make this y-axis. It's a whole different y-axis. So we'll go just 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. All right. Oh, I need to go to 35, don't I? I know I mentioned it. All right. That's okay. I can extend my line just a little bit. Must have not counted my lines correctly. Good thing you left that space. Okay, so I got 35 on this side, but 46 on this side. And that's the part of this that really trips us out. So when I'm going to graph precipitation, I'm only looking at the numbers on the left. And when I graph temperature, I'm only looking at the numbers on the right. They don't have to be the same numbers. Okay, that is the tricky part. And because we're doing all three graphs, you can set all three graphs up with this range. So you can set the rainforest up like this. You can set the desert up like this. You can set up the deciduous forest just like this. And that way, all three have the same range. That's why I'm doing it with you. And I'll be doing this in class for the checking meetings if you were unable to attend. Okay, down here, we need our months. There's 12 months in a year. Now, I don't have, it doesn't have 6 inches here, so I'm not going to be able to go by halves. So I'm just going to kind of break it up into every 3 lines. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then make a line. 1, 2, 3. Wait, it was on the third line. 1, 2, 3. Wait, after the first line. So 1, 2, 3, beep. 1, 2, 3, beep. 1, 2, 3, beep. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's going to be a little short. It's going to be a little short. That's okay. That's okay. It'll work. All right. So I'm going to have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. And so we have it set up like so. My December is going to be much whiter than the rest of the months, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, here's the thing. When we do precipitation, and maybe this is helpful if I write this on my paper. You don't have to write it on yours. Precipitation, these are bars. This is a bar graph. When we do a temperature, that is dots on a line. Okay? So you're going to take our data now. I'm going to slide this over just a bit. So I can move the screen like so. Put our data full so we can see both sets of data. Okay, so here's how this goes. So remember, precipitation is bar graphs. So when I come to January, I see 30. I'm going to go all the way up to 30. 30 is right here. So I want to make a bar. Connect that So that first one is January. Now you might be like, well, I put January on the line. It's not really in between the lines. That's okay. It's still going to work just fine. Move this up a little bit. There we go. One more zoom out helps. All right. February, 30.5. Okay. Now I go February 30.5. It's going to be right about, just a little bit above 30. Notice I'm only working with the lines on, I'm only working with the numbers on the left because I'm doing precipitation. Okay, so you use the precipitation numbers. All right, March is 33. Okay, so I'm going to go to 33. 33 is right about there. April, 35.8. Okay, we're really up here. And you're like, dang, man, these are some big bars. Yep, they are. 35.8. Okay, May 22. Okay, it's coming down a little bit. 22 will be right here. June, 9.6. Okay, that's really low. So 9.6 is going to be almost 10. July, 11. Goes back up a little bit. August, 8.3. Okay, it's coming back down. September, 8.3 again. Well, that makes it even. It's just the same spot. October, 11. November is 27.5. Whoa, what a jump. Okay. Huge jump. 27.5 will be right about there. So I want to come up with another line. And then December 30.3. In fact, I've got kind of a hole here on the right-hand side. I did not measure my x-axis very well. Should have done a better job with that. All right, so those are my precipitation numbers for the tropical rainforest. And again, we said it's always good practice to put in the numbers: 30.0, 30.5, 33.0, 35.8, 22.0. That is a 9.6, 11.0. I almost put the wrong number. 8.3, 8.3, 11.0, 27.5, and 30.3. Now, if I would have done a better job, this gap wouldn't exist right here, but I did not space out my months appropriately. Should have done a better job of equal spacing for the months. Okay, but that is just the precipitation. That's just the first column. Now we need to go and graph the temperature. All right, and again, dots on a line. That's what we wrote right here, dots on a line. So here's what I do. Now I don't look at this y-axis, and now I look at the one on the right when I do these numbers. So I go January, 27.5. Now notice I'm looking on the right side. 27.5 to January is right about a dot right there. I'm gonna make it big so it's easy to see. Boom, big dot. All right, February, 27.5 again. Okay, so big dot. And you're like, whoa, whoa, you're screwing up your bars. That's okay. That's what you do. You put right on the same spot. In fact, March is also 27.5. And you easy, look, you can use the bars to guide you on which month it is. So April is right here. So that's 27.5. Oh my gosh, it's the same spot each time. Okay, May, 27.5. So it's not really changing a whole lot here. 27.5 right here. June, 27.5, which is right here. July is 28, so it goes up a little bit. So 28 is right here, so that's on the line. And then 28 again for June. Oh, that was July is 28. August is 29, so 29 is the next one up. September is also 29. October and November are both 29, so October is 29. November is 29. Notice I'm only looking at the right-hand y-axis because that's where the temperature numbers are. And then December is 28.5, so the 28.5 is right about there. And just like what we did before, you connect those dots. And it's okay if you end up writing over one of your numbers like I just did. That's not a problem. Okay, like so. And if you think you can make it look nice so it doesn't mess up with all the numbers, I would put in your numbers here. So you got 27.5. I'm going to just keep it because it's the same all the way across. Then this is obviously 28, 29, same all the way across, and then 28.5. And so, since we did this with our bar graphs the first week, I will do it again. Just to give it some color. Now this was a lot of work. You're probably like, man, this is a long video. Yes, it was a lot of work because remember, half the work was setting it up with the right numbers and figuring out how many lines. You don't have to do that for the next two graphs because you can use the exact same numbers on the next two graphs. So I've kind of done a little of the work for you here. So I wanted to show you how you set up a Climograph. So if I give you a Climograph to read, which I probably will on a quiz coming up, not this week, but maybe in the future, that you're able to read that the temperature is on one side and the precipitation is on the other side. See, I feel bad. It doesn't look professional because I got this gap right here, but that's okay. That's okay. I can survive. Now, you might say, why are we doing this? This tells us everything we need to know about the tropical rainforest. Not only does it tell us, wow, it rains a lot this November through April, and it doesn't rain as much in June, July, August, and September, but look at the temperatures. So even though it rains a lot and doesn't rain a lot, the temperatures pretty much stay the same the whole time. So it's always warm in the tropical rainforest. It's just when does the rain come and when does the rain not come? And that will tell you what's going on when we start talking about the life in the tropical rainforest. You can see how much water it gets. First of all, that's a lot of water. And the temperatures are always high. It's always warm. Now, you're going to do a graph just like this for the desert, and you're going to do a graph just like this for the deciduous forest, if I show you these. The desert is going to have low precipitation. So look at all those numbers for precipitation. It'll be really low. Your bar is going to be just like crawling along the ground right here. And look at the temperatures though. It's going to range from 14, so very low, all the way up to 35. So it gets hotter in the desert, but there's no rain. And you'll be able to compare those graphs once you make it. And then you'll do the same for the tropical deciduous forest as well. And so it tells us a lot. You see, like I said, the whole purpose of a graph is to see the trend of what is happening. With the temperature, I can tell there's not much happening. It's staying pretty warm the whole time. But with the rain, I can see there's tons of rain and then not lots of rain and then tons of rain, but there's always rain. That's another key point. When you see the desert, you're going to see there's not any rain hardly ever. There's always rain in the rainforest, but it really rains more some months and it doesn't rain on others. So here's one of your graphs. You're going to graph the other two, and that is your assignment for the week. And again, watch this video, see how I created it, but you can use this y-axis and this y-axis. I've already set up the numbers for you. This one goes by 2s, this one goes by, this one goes by 1s, this one goes by 2s. And so don't be like me, make sure to space out your months all nice and even along the bottom, and you'll have a beautiful graph to look at that shows you what's going on. All right, so that is your assignment for the week. I hope this was helpful to all of you. We're going to be doing this in class on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, and then Thursday and Friday, we're going to look at comparing the three graphs to each other. Okay, so make sure you come to class and make sure you're there on time, because you can see this takes a while, so we're going to be doing this right from the get-go when class starts. All right, I'll see you in class this week. Have a good one.